Hello, my name is Gabor Tóth, and I am the founder of the Effective Marketing Group and an international online marketing strategist. In this webinar, I will tell you exactly how to use marketing in your own business or activities so you are super successful with it and it actually works for you. At the end of the webinar, I'm going to give you a path how you can become very knowledgeable easily in marketing and learn exactly what you need to know for creating marketing for yourself or managing teams that create marketing for you. Now, if you are interested in this webinar and what I'm about to tell you, then please switch off Facebook, mute your phone, and just concentrate on me. Don't get distracted. Thank you. I am a marketing strategist, and I have been making very successful marketing strategies for different organizations all over the world, different sizes, schools, small, medium, and large companies, international organizations, online marketing strategies, offline marketing strategies, and all kinds of strategies for over 20 years now. I've isolated the exact points and have learned about the exact points that make marketing strategies work and that make it work for everybody, whatever size of the company. It is not the same thing for a large company. Marketing is not done the same way for a large company than for a small school, for example. But I have isolated the exact points that you need to go through to be successful, to be able to create a campaign exactly for your organization, exactly for the area, for your customers, for your products. And I'm going to talk to you about that in this webinar. Just imagine what it will be when you know exactly how to create a marketing strategy, exactly how to work out your own marketing or how to supervise people to work out your own marketing that actually brings you money back instead of just spending your money. Imagine that. So let's start with definitions. Let's start to define what marketing is. Marketing is putting together and moving a specific product or service to public hands. Prepare and put it in such a way to create want and sell. So marketing is not just getting something on the internet or making an advertisement. And that is something very many marketing companies and individuals doing marketing make mistake of. Marketing is not some part of getting a product sold. It's actually making a product sold online, offline, or whichever means. It means putting it together in a way that it will be bought. It means finding out what people will buy and in what form they are going to buy. And then creating, for example, a website, an advertisement campaign, and get it sold. If it is not done, if it is not being sold through advertisements or through your website, if it only generates traffic to your website, for example, or you are number one in search engines, that is only part of marketing. That is not a full marketing campaign. And that is why sometimes people think that marketing doesn't work for them, because the people who put together the marketing, or even themselves, were not aware of the definition and were not aware of what marketing is supposed to be doing. So what does marketing actually do? Marketing has a number of different parts, and it isn't the same for everybody. It also depends on where you start from. If you already have a huge customer base who bought products from you, then it's different to put together a marketing for you than it is for somebody who's starting up. If you are just starting up and you have nobody, you're coming out with a new product, then it's entirely different again to make a marketing campaign. It is also important to decide who are you selling to. Some companies or organizations are selling products to customers directly. Some selling to other companies or organizations. This is called business to customer or business to business marketing. And it is different how to make a marketing campaign if you are doing it to customers or if you are doing it to other businesses. Also do realize if you are not selling a product like Coca-Cola or you are not selling services like Google, you can still be and you should still be using marketing. If you, an artist or if you have some ideas that you want to sell, or if you are working for an NGO, a non-governmental organization, you are still going to need marketing. You are still going to need tools to make your ideas known, to make your ideas accepted and bought, even if it's not directly with money, but accepted and taken into account and taken into public's mind. Why is marketing the key thing for an organization or company? Every organization has different departments, different parts. And normally what people look for in an organization as the most important part is the production part, is the one that actually produces the product, produces the goods that you are selling, or produces or making the services that you are going to sell, or whatever it is that you are going to sell or making money for you in the organization. And it is true. Without this part, there is no organization. If you do not have a product, if you do not have a service to sell, then there is nothing to sell. You do need that. And then there is, of course, the part of finances, the one that takes care of the bank accounts, the accountants, taking the money in, sending out the invoices. That is also a very important part. Without this, your organization will go bankrupt, the tax office will come on to you, and it's not workable. HR department, even if you are a small organization and you do it any of this or many of this part yourself, it's very important. You need to be able to hire the person that is going to do the job, the personnel that is going to do the job. You need to be able to train them. You need to be able to control them so they're gonna work. Of course, executives are very important to make sure the company is doing what it's supposed to be doing. And there are all kinds of other departments depending on the size and the product of the organization. And one of these is marketing. Marketing normally is in the same department or next to sales. It is very similar activities. Salespeople can be selling products on the phone or directly going out to customers, or customers coming into them. But this is something, a direct action of getting the product into the hands, or the services into the hands of the public, of customers, organizations, whoever you are selling to. Why do I say that marketing is the most important out of these? Obviously, because I work in marketing. You would say so. And that is, of course, one of the reasons for it. But I have other reasons I'm saying marketing is the most important. In today's world, we are living in the age of technology and in the age of information. Internet is everywhere. Practically every company has websites, has Facebook pages, and all kinds of presence in the online world. You can find them on the internet, you can find information about them, you can find out what they are selling, what other people think about them, if their products are good or not good. You can find out all this through the internet, through searches of the internet, Google search or other means. Does an organization or company this age, especially in the Western world, I'm not necessarily talking about the rural worlds of Africa or India where there is no electricity or no internet or nothing like that. Of course, that is very different over there. There is still marketing being done over there, but different ways. But in the Western world, in the first world, and in the places where there is internet, when there is technology, without marketing, without an effective marketing, you are going to fall very much behind. Let me explain it to you. You can have a very, very good, valuable product, and you can have very good salesmen selling that valuable and good product, and you still can fall behind competitors or companies selling similar things, and they can even take your product and make their own, copy your product basically, and then being your competitor, and if their marketing is better, they're gonna win. One example, Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola has created a fantastic marketing and PR campaign, and it's constantly running across the world in every single country. I don't think there is many people on earth that never heard of Coca-Cola. And let's look at the product. What does it do? Of course, it tastes good, but beside that, it's not good for your teeth, it's not good for your health. I personally don't drink Coca-Cola product, but sure, I have seen the advertisement, I have seen the products, and I used to drink it in the past. So Coca-Cola, without having a very valuable product, created such an empire of billions of dollars worth of product being sold all parts of the world just by marketing. So without marketing, your company is not going to grow big enough to support you to actually grow and become bigger and bigger and be valuable, the company itself. That's why I'm saying marketing is a very important tool, is a very important department, is a very important activity. Despite that, I have seen that many organizations don't actually have marketing departments. Maybe they have created a website, they ask somebody, a subcontractor or somebody one time to make a website for them that hasn't been updated, hasn't been new products or even when the company moved, the address is not changed, is not updated on the website. So they don't do any marketing and they wonder why their statistics are sometimes going up and sometimes going down, and mostly down. Big percentage of the companies in the United States, internationally, practically any country of the world, after the first couple of years go bankrupt and close down. Very many of them, a big percentage of them. One of the big reasons, of course, one reason is the product and service they came out with. It's not valuable, it's not needed, nobody needs it. But even that can be overcome by marketing. If you come out with a product that is valuable, but people don't know about it and they actually don't want to buy it because they don't know it, marketing can make them want to buy it. That is one of the purposes of marketing. Very good example, Apple and the iPhone. When the iPhone came out, nobody thought of such a phone. Before, all the phones had a keyboard, an actual physical keyboard, physical keys, and a small screen, and you can call and text on it, pretty much. There were some small games you could play in it, but the main thing, that was the main thing. Nobody thought of a huge screen, touch screen, internet browsers, emails, and all this put into a phone. And nobody wanted it. But Apple has created such a huge campaign, such a big marketing release, press releases, websites, advertisements all over the place that maybe not everybody, but many people wanted to buy an iPhone, and many people did buy an iPhone, and then Apple took off. Until today, most of the people in the world are having some sort of a smartphone, even if it's not iPhone, but it is a smartphone. And don't forget that Apple invented the iPhone, and Apple invented the smartphone and this whole technology that comes with it. So that was an example of people not knowing about a product that was a good product, and marketing had to bring it out and sell it to people and make people want it. So it is possible, if you have a good product, to get it out in the market and become very successful with it. Let's see, what is that marketing supposed to produce? I told you about what it does, but what it's supposed to produce. It actually, if a marketing campaign is done right, then it will bring you money back more than what you spend on it. There's actually no point of doing marketing where you spend more money on it, at least on the long run, that you get back from it. If you are selling a book that costs that costs, let's say, $50, and your advertisement and the websites and everything that you put together cost $200 to sell one book, then there's no point of doing marketing. Then you're just running yourself into bankruptcy. Marketing campaigns and the entirety of marketing, the purpose of it is to bring more money back to the organization than what you spend on marketing. So if you create paid campaigns, or you are creating newsletter campaigns, or whatever you are creating, if you add up all the cost of marketing, including the money that goes for the employee that works in marketing or the subcontractor that works for your marketing, it has to bring you back more money, at least on the long run, than what you spend on it. Sometimes, especially when you start up campaigns, it is possible that you need to put out money, and actually almost always you have to put out more money in the beginning than what it immediately brings back. But in the long run, you have to get more money back from the marketing sales than what you are spending on marketing. Actually, I'm going to explain to you and tell you about campaigns where you don't have to put money out. It is also possible to start campaigns without spending any money or any advertisement money. But let me talk about it later. So there are actually two categories of marketing, or two big categories. And the first one didn't have a name until the second one started to come in. The second one is online marketing. And then there is, of course, and there is different names being called offline marketing and all kinds. What I'm calling it is traditional marketing. This is marketing that has been done, and until now it is being done without internet, without online tools. That's, of course, posters, billboards, TV, radio campaigns, word of mouth marketing comes also into this category. And that's the category of marketing that is done without the internet. And of course, as I explained to you before, it's an age of information. It's the age of the internet. So online marketing is the big thing. And online marketing is quite different than traditional marketing. Now, which one should you use? Most companies today opt into, especially when they are dealing with modern products, not necessarily traditional products, but online tools or online web shops or this kind of stuff, they opt using online marketing. It is many times the right choice, and it has its advantages, but there are also certain things or certain types of companies or organizations where traditional marketing is important and can be even more important. Let me give you some examples. If you have a shop, a physical shop, where it's on the big walking street, there are thousands and thousands of people passing by, then of course you can do online marketing, but it is more effective at this point, especially if you're selling product that is to those people walking by your shop, to do traditional marketing. Put out a billboard, a sandwich board, or a guy standing there with flyers, and get people in that way. Maybe physically route people in to your shop. Big shopping window, big signs, it's gonna be very effective. Especially when you are selling, for example, food. It is quite hard to get people attracted from the other side of the city, or even more complicated, from other cities to your store when you are, for example, a food store that has similar food stores all around the city. Normally you would target the people near your store. And of course there is one kind of campaign when you would catch them in dinner breaks and lunch breaks, and you would find out where people come out from. If there is a school, then put up advertisements, posters in front of the school, or if there is a big office building, same thing. Work out if you can do deliveries into office building, and then you can step into more online marketing tools as well, selling the delivery tools. So there is different steps you can do, but both type of marketings, traditional and online marketing, has its part, or can have its part in your marketing campaigns. Normally, traditional marketing is more expensive than online marketing. It is also harder to target it to the right audiences many times, but it still has its part, and in a number of cases it is more effective than online marketing. Let's see the different tools in the traditional marketing. I have talked to you about a few, but let's go over what they are. Many of them, as a first step, involves some sort of a design work. Even if it's flyers, or if it's posters, or if it's billboards, and even if you are going to do radio or TV advertisements, beside the radio, it's all visually attractive. It has to be all visually attractive. So you have to create logos, you have to create visually attractive pictures and lay out the text in a way that people will read it. And then of course it involves copywriting, writing the text that people will read and want to get into your store or want to order your product. These are, so we can get one category is the printed media, and printed in this case I mean billboards, posters and flyers. These are tools of traditional marketing. Posters, normally you can put up different parts of the city, and there is usually companies that rent out these places, so you can either send them the file that they print themselves, or you send them the posters and they put up, and then you pay depending on how long you want them to be there. These campaigns can be very effective if it's focused on different events or different things happening in the real world. For example, around Christmas, you can design posters that is Christmas themed, and if your product is something that people can buy as a gift or as a decoration, then it can be very effective. Flyers, similar thing, you can create different flyers and get it. There are companies who distribute them either on the street or into post boxes or on cars, or different ways you can distribute it. And billboards are similar than posters. So traditional marketing has its own tools. As I said, I talked about posters and printed media. There is also TV and radio advertisements that you can use in traditional marketing. Especially, of course, you need to check out the place where you live, but as of price, radio advertisement normally is not super expensive, and it can be actually effective if you have a product that you can describe well with words. The other is TV advertisement. It is easier to show as it's pictures and videos and so on. It's normally, to produce it is also already expensive, and then of course to show it, to air it different times in the evenings or whenever your products should be shown to the public. Normally with traditional marketing tools, one of the key things is the targeting, is how to get it to the people that is going to buy your products. Like I'm sure you have seen, if you are watching TV from time to time or regularly, then you have seen advertisements in TV that is not for you. I have seen tampon advertisements or advertisements on different illnesses, medications that I don't have and I don't use. But of course, there's no way really to distinguish on TV advertisements who is watching the TV. The only way to distinguish somewhat is the time periods. But you can't have a campaign for men or women separately, or you can't really have a very, very targeted campaign. You can somehow avoid ads that are not supposed to be for kids, and then you show them in late nights or late evenings, or in times when kids should be in school and so on, but that's not very much you can do with actually targeting. And it is same with the printed ones. Flyers are a bit different. You can more target them, especially if you, for example, do a campaign or you have a product that is for businesses, then you can have flyers distributed to business locations, and that's one way you can actually target them. In many countries, the post office has this service that they have, of course, they have a full database of the different addresses and which one is residential and which one is business addresses and what type of business addresses. So they can deliver flyers, or they can deliver brochures or what have you to businesses or business owners. So in this way, you can target that a little bit better. If you are going for if your product or service is for customers directly, then it is a little bit harder. Then you're gonna have basically a number of wasted advertisement, because of if you deliver a specific products, for example, for mothers, then it's very hard to distribute flyers to mothers only. So that's one of the backslashes of traditional marketing. Let me tell you a positive side of traditional marketing compared to online marketing. That is why I am a number of times advised companies or organizations to consider doing traditional marketing tools, like especially like printed materials that can be shipped out or given to customers. I don't know how you consider it, but most of the people I talk to, including myself, like to have brochures, printed brochures on my table or next to me and looking through, even more than online tools. I am an online guy. I do online marketing. I use online tools all the time, but still, for me, a brochure has more, if it's a well-made brochure and it's targeted to me and it interests me, it has more value. It shows that the company has a bigger value in my eyes than the one that didn't send me a brochure. Like, everybody can make a website, everybody can make newsletters and online promotions and Facebook ads, but making a brochure, it of course costs much more money than running such campaigns or even creating a website. But it also can bring back much more. It has to be done efficiently, it has to be done smartly and in the right moments, not when your company is starting up and doesn't have enough funds to run such campaigns. But if you do, then it is worth considering using traditional marketing tools. Now, let me talk about, just run through online marketing tools. There are even more numerous tools for online marketing. Of course, number one that we would say is a website. But already a website is a very broad category. It is, let's say, a web address and something shown to people. And most companies, at least as of today, in beginning of 2020, use traditional websites that looks like a website. Normally is also works on mobile phones and smaller devices and then big screens. It has menus and it shows about the company products. You can look at what their mission is. You can look up the contact data, and then maybe sub-menus for products. And sometimes if it is selling products that way, then also a web shop, it could be separated, normally is separated from the normal website. And even a web shop is lots of menus, lots of points, all the products uploaded there in different versions and colors and sizes and so on, depending on what you are selling. And you can order it, pay with card, etc. So these are the so-called traditional websites. Much better and much more effective than these are landing pages. And landing page is basically just one page. There is no menu, nothing else. And on that one page is just one specific product or service that you are delivering. There's no other choices of other products or services, so people can buy that one product. For advertisement purposes, is much more effective because people don't get confused on where should they go. There is one basic idea, and that has been tested over and over again, that the customer who gets confused normally doesn't buy. The customer who has too many choices gets easily confused. If somebody comes to buy shoes, a specific shoe, a specific pair of shoes, then he should only see that specific pair of shoes when he arrives to the website. If then he gets a website with 200 different types of shoes and sizes, okay, sizes maybe not a choice, but different colors, different brands, different fashions and so on, then many times he gets confused in this, or looking it through, look, and then just doesn't buy anything. So a landing page that is basically also a website, but without menus and other options, it's much more effective. And the most modern thing and the most effective thing that I'm also using is online sales funnels, which is basically automated sales processes put online. That's similar or starts similar like a landing page, starting up one item, one product or one service, and the person can order it, and then it takes through on upsell and downsell and the different parts of sales, just the same way like people would walk into a store and the sales clerk or the salesman would do it. Like, for example, you buy a pair of shoes, then maybe they ask, okay, would you like some shoe cream with it, or extra shoelaces, or and they upsell you for different products. Or if it's not only a shoe store but clothing also, then they would show, if it's a good salesman, would show you, let's say this pair of pants goes with these shoes very well, it's the same brand or the same type of fashion, would you like to also buy that? And this kind of stuff. And this can be done also online, done with videos and different online tools that this sales funnels does. One of the most known and most effective sales funnel software and creator is called ClickFunnels. That's what I'm also using. Probably you are watching this video on a ClickFunnels page. So that's one of the set of tools in online marketing. The rest of the tools, most of the time used to get traffic into the website or into the sales funnel or into the landing page. Traffic means people. I get people to click on the website and go on the website and then buy the product. That's one of the differences between offline or traditional and online marketing, is when you have a store and people can walk in, then they walk in and they shop there. When you have, and that's normally stores are put in locations where there's lots of people passing by, in shopping malls or in walking streets. If not, then of course you have a problem, and then you even have a bigger challenge to marketing to fill your shop. But online it's even worse, because you put up a website and there is, I can guarantee you, hundreds if not thousands of similar websites with similar products online. It's very rare that you come up with a product that is rare, that is only one, or that is no, one of a kind. But even if it is one of a kind, when people go online, they will not just see your one of a kind product. They will have to find it, and there are millions and millions of websites people need to navigate through to find yours. If they don't find yours, then they never visit you, they never find you. So online is even more important to get people to visit your website. And the rest, or most of the rest of the online marketing tools, are for this purpose. So one of the next ones, which is normally the most used, is paid advertisements. There are different services being built around paid advertisements. One of the most known is Google, of course. Google, when you use Google tools, the search, or Gmail, or Maps, or different other Google tools, then they are normally free. There are of course company tools also which are paid, but most of the tools Google produces or uses are free. So how does Google make its money? Mostly the money Google makes comes from advertisements. So their purpose is to make you business, basically. When you search in Google, let's say you are looking for shoes, you type in shoes or men's shoes and you hit enter, then the top of the search results are normally 3 to 5 products, 3 to 5 advertised products. They are not found by Google by combing through internet, but they are paid by those companies who advertise there to show on top, and also sometimes on the bottom and on the side. So that's one of the tools online marketing uses, is Google advertisements, paid advertisements. Facebook has similar advertisements. I will talk about it more in details now. I just basically run through the tools. So Facebook is similar. When you are searching or scrolling through Facebook, many times advertisements pop up. They sometimes look like a normal post. So Facebook advertisements are very similar than Google advertisements in a way that you pay for it and they bring people to your website. Then other services like Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, and so on make similar advertisements, and a similar way they appear when people are using their platform generally. So these are advertisements, paid advertisements. These are tools, online tools to get people to your website. One of the big difference between these paid advertisements and, for example, flyers of the traditional marketing is that they can be targeted very precisely. Like, or for example, on Facebook, you can have your advertisement shown to women of a certain age. Like you have a product for young women, then you can have your ads shown to women from the age of 18 to 24, for example. Or you can show it to mothers, or you can show it to single men, or there are all kind of different ways of targeting. You can target by location, you can target by age category, you can target by language spoken, you can target, again, I will go more in details into that, but there are different ways of targeting. So other online marketing tools is social media. Social media, from first look, it doesn't actually look like a marketing tool. It's more like spending time on. Like you have hundreds and thousands and millions of people, and actually billions of people, that are using Facebook, and they're every day and scrolling through and posting up what they have eaten and where they have been, and then they got married and they got divorced and all kinds of stuff. And the same with Instagram, and the same with Twitter and other kind of social media platforms. But exactly because of that, they are also tools, and it's beside the paid advertisements, they are also tools for selling products or services or ideas or whatever you are selling, so marketing. You can create Facebook pages, Facebook groups, and post about products and services and invite people and so on and so forth. There are different ways of doing it. Again, I will go into more details about this later on, but this is also online marketing tools that you can use for your business. It does depend on your business what tool you can use or what tool is the most effective, and that's again why I made this video, so I can help you figuring out which one it is the most effective. There is one set of tools, or actually it is one tool pretty much that Google made, which surprisingly a few people or a very little amount of people know about. Somehow Google doesn't advertise it either very well. This is called Google My Business. This is basically, if you imagine Google search as a yellow pages where you can find different companies and different products and different services and so on, then Google My Business is how you get your company into Google to get listed. Because you can have a business that may be for years and years in a certain location and delivering products, but when people search in Google, you don't appear. Even if you have a website, you don't appear in those searches. And even on maps, sometimes you can see, if you use Google Maps, that certain businesses show up. Like there is a restaurant and it shows up on the Google Maps. So if you want to go to a restaurant, you can just click on it and then it navigates you there. But how do they appear on the map? And why don't you appear, or your business appear on the map? Again, this is a tool for businesses that has an actual location where they serve public in their location, like you can visit them, or if public can come into your office or into your store, then it is a tool for you. You can use Google My Business, and it's a totally entirely free tool to put your business into the Google searches, Google Maps, and other Google tools. There are other tricks going with it, and I will make different videos more detailed into exactly how to use and how to effectively use it so you really appear in these searches, but this is also another tool. Then one of the most effective tools, and again, not that many companies use it, quite a number of them, and you will notice it yourself as a receiving end of it, it's newsletters. Newsletters can be effective in any way, like however you send it out. It's the more you send out, technically, the more effect you can create and the more purchases you can create. But most effective if you're sending out to your former customers. If you already have hundreds or thousands of people or companies bought products from you and you kept your email addresses, then it can be very effective to send updates of new products or products that go with the previous products to them in a form of emails. Why it is? Because these people already know your company. They have given their email addresses, so they expect that they will get some email from you. and you know what they bought. You have data on them, so it's not you are going to send randomly things for them, but you are going to actually send such emails or such advertisements that is exactly addressed to them. You can even address them by name if you have collected their data that way. So this is another very, very effective and relatively cheap tool, because email services, there are even free email services. For example, MailChimp, to a certain degree, it's free to use, and it's very effective. There are other online tools as well. For example, search engine optimization, you probably heard about it. SEO, it's also being shortened. This, I can see, or I see until this day, that this service, search engine optimization, is being misused and abused and used differently, strange ways. Some companies sell this as an entirely separate service, and they tell you that you're gonna be a #1 of Google searches, and it's not really a service alone, standing alone. It normally does not worth the money that it is being asked for. The main thing of search engine optimization is to optimize your website or landing page or online funnel, sales funnel, so it appears in Google searches and it is searchable. It can be found in searches. I normally don't advise for especially small and medium-sized companies or organizations to spend much more time and money on it, of trying to actually actively getting #1 in searches. Much cheaper to advertise in Google, because then you directly appear on the searches and you can exactly control which searches you appear for and what information. This is valuable because then you can be searched and found on Google organically, meaning not the paid part but the rest. But the tricks sometimes people use and marketing companies use to get you #1 is a bit of a gray area. Google didn't design the search engine so you can trick it so you appear in first. Normally, who should appear #1 in any kind of a search is the most relevant search for the person who is searching. If you are searching restaurants, then normally restaurants around you and based on your previous searches for pizzerias and so on should appear. And that's what Google is trying to do. It can be to some degree tricked into by optimizing the website in different ways, but it is a little bit gray area. It is not illegal to do so, but Google is constantly trying to make sure it cannot be done, so it changes the way it actually shows the sequences, it shows the search results. So I wouldn't directly spend huge amounts of money on this, but it is a tool, definitely, and it should be used moderately. So these are general online marketing tools that can be used, and these last ones mainly to get people to your website, so then you can sell some product on your website. Now let's go a little bit more into social media and how can you use it for your company. Social media, most examples I will tell you are for Facebook, but it is very similar to the rest, Instagram and so on. I try to do generally social media. Social media and advertising and using it for marketing, mostly effective for companies and organizations when they are having products for customers, because of course customers are people in this case, and people are on social media. Facebook, not everybody, but most majority of people are on Facebook, especially if you are not targeting the elderly and not targeting people who are not like countries or areas when there is no Facebook. But the rest of the people are, you can assume that most of your potential customers are on Facebook. So it is going to be very effective when you are using social media as a marketing tool. Now, how would you use it? It is quite different, and each social media has its different ways of using it and different tools and different audiences and how to use it, and you need to consider that. And you also need to, number one, consider that this is social media. It's not an advertisement platform. If you are going to post constantly advertisements on your Facebook page, for example, you will get very little result with that. Why? Because people who are on social media, they are not looking for advertisements. They are not there because they are trying to buy new shoes. They are not there because they are trying to buy a new car or sign up for some services. They will sign up for new services when they see an advertisement that resonates with them and talk with them. But consider their frame of mind when they are going through Facebook. They are looking for social messages. They are looking for games. They are looking for challenges. They are looking for nice photos and stories. And this is how you need to advertise your products. For example, one of the effective ways of advertising products and services on a Facebook page, for example, if you don't put mostly advertisements on it, but you find what your audience or potential customers would be interested in. Let's say, for example, if you are selling hunting guns, then of course they would be interested in nice photos of the forest, of the different wild animals, photos of guns, photos of hunting, stories of hunting, and this kind of stuff, which are not actually talking about your product, but just talking about the activity generally of hunting. And you should post many pictures and stories about that, nothing about trying to sell product. Normally the good ratio is 80% of non-advertisement type of posts, like just pictures and stories of interesting things and even quizzes and what have you, and about 20% advertisements of products tying into this. Like you are, for example, if I take this same example, for a week you are posting different photos of different animals that can be like wild animals that can be hunted in the region where you are, where your customers are or potential customers are, and until the weekend you are just posting that so they can see nice stories with them and so on. And then at the weekend, or other way around, some of the days you post hunting gun photos and where to buy them that is good to hunt those animals. Now I'm not for hunting, but I just gave this as an example. Same if you are doing with shoes. If you are, for example, advertising running shoes, then you should have nice photos of running people, stories, even articles of what's the best ways of running, where should you run on concrete or should you run on softer grounds, what kind of different shoes you can use, and then you can tie in the different type of shoes you can buy. But most of the posts should be not advertisements. So social media is basically, you need to make your advertisements or your marketing look social, look like a social message, look like something some of the friends of that people would have posted or put up. And then you are going to be much more effective of getting people engaged, like even sharing it further, and then it's getting even more exposure, more audience, getting into more audience. These are the key things in social media generally. Now, again, different social medias have different audiences and different ways of posting and advertising or using marketing this way. Facebook is pretty much a general thing, like many different people on it. The youngest ones, teenagers and so on, at least at this time in 2020, they are on Facebook, but they look for more like Instagram and even moving on Pinterest and different areas. So you always need to research if your audience is mostly on that social media or whatever. You cannot go very wrong with Facebook because many people and youngsters also use Facebook. So Facebook is general. There is, for example, Instagram, which is mainly around photos. So when you advertise, or when you market your products with photos. It works well again when you have your customers are people, not companies, and your products look good on photos. If you have services, then you need to create photos that shows your service on a photo or a short video. And one more thing you need to take into consideration, then Instagram posts, you cannot post links into them directly that can be clicked on. So you can this way advertise. You have to put them into your description of your profile, the link where they can find that product. Then it also makes sense to create different profiles for different products, because just one link can be there. So in Instagram, this is how you would do it. Many times, like the most important thing in online advertisements and online marketing is trial and error. Many times this is the most workable way of figuring out what actually works. On the traditional marketing part, for example, it's very expensive to do trial and error on huge billboards. For example, when you print a billboard that costs hundreds of, if not thousands of dollars to just produce it and then to run it again, and then you figure out after 2 months that it had no effect, that's pretty expensive. In the online world, it's much faster and much cheaper. Creating a post on Facebook, it's 10 minutes work, doesn't cost anything. If it didn't work, you can create another type of post, you can change around, etc., etc. So it is easier to do trial and error online. It's the same with social media and figuring out which social media platform works most for you. If you are small or medium business, then you probably wouldn't do every single social media. There is quite some of them. You would do the major ones: Facebook, Instagram, maybe Twitter. In European countries, Twitter is not even as much as in the US. LinkedIn and so on. And you would figure out which one works most, and again, which one works which way. And it's one is trial and error, but also you need to do a bit of a research and figure out what kind of customers of your customers are on which platform and what they are looking for and how they use that platform. And this is how you need to tie in with your message, with your social media posts, with your social media profiles and Facebook pages and so on. So this is how you would use social media. Let me, as I explained before, social media is mostly to when you have your product directly to customers, not to other businesses. There are exceptions when I used it differently, and it brought a result, because of course, if your product is business to business, you are still selling it to people. A business owner is still a person who is probably on Facebook. A business, somebody in a business who is doing the purchasing for that business is still probably on Facebook or Instagram or whatever. Normally, it's not, or it's frowned upon to use social media while at work. So that's why it's not so effective to use Facebook advertisements, for example, because the person who's supposed to do purchases or the business owner is normally not on Facebook during work hours, or not supposed to be at least. But sometimes, for example, if you have some sort of an organization that consists of board members and decisions are made over a long time, and then you can influence them by having social media campaigns when they watch it at home and so on. So it still, again, depends on the situation, and it can be tried out. It's not super expensive to try out, even if it doesn't work. Now, let me go back a little bit on paid advertisement. I touched it and I talked about it. Now I'm mainly talking about online paid advertisements. And I will go into mostly the two most used platforms, and that is Google and Facebook. There are very many similarities, and there are a number of differences. Both of them work in a way, and normally there are different settings, but the normal setting is that you pay only when people click on your advertisement, not when it is shown to people. So it is in the interest both of Google and of Facebook to get people to click on your advertisements, because this is when you pay them. Then the difference is Google, you have to set up the Google advertisement. Is normally text advertisements, not picture ones, but you can also do picture and video ones. But the key or the main thing is text advertisements, because it is built around the search engine. So people search and then your ads should show up. So in this case, what you need to define is what searches you want to be shown for. And here there are different tricks. For example, and this again, Google searches also works for both for business to business and business to customer. But recently I have done a campaign for one of my customers who are, one of the product they are selling is tapes, sticky tapes, but for businesses to bigger quantities. So when you set up what searches it should show up for, if you set up to show up for people searching for sticky tapes, then most of your searches would be coming from individuals, not from businesses, because I want to buy a sticky tape for home, and I just search, or what should I, what kind I should buy, and I search sticky tape. So you need to consider the searches, and that's, Google has a tool for that, to figure out what search is being searched, how many times, relationship to what keywords, what expressions, and how you combine it. It's a whole science behind it, and I will have an entirely separate video about just that, on how to set up Google advertisement. But that's how it works basically. You set up the campaign, within the campaign you set up the different advertisements, and you always set up what keywords, what kind of searches those advertisements should show up for. In each advertisement, the biggest mistake you can do, especially in this kind of advertisements like Google and Facebook where you pay for click, is when the advertisement is not exactly clear of what you are advertising. Like, you can have advertisements that will make sure that many people clicks on it, but many of those will not be potential customers for you. Like, you can win a house and then people click on it if you buy certain product from us, and that's what is on the website, but it's not in the ad. And then you're gonna waste your advertisement money on people who are not going to buy your product in this way. I have seen advertisement that used up thousands of dollars and got absolutely zero results. One of the plus points, one of the positive sides of online advertisements is also one of its potential downfall. It's simplicity. It's very simple to set up an online advertisement campaign and then get it started. It's so simple that both Google and Facebook are willing to call you up and help you set one up themselves. You don't even need to hire a marketing guy if you're not a marketing guy yourself. But because it is so simple, you can set it up yourself without thinking it through clearly and without going correctly setting it up. You can set it up in a way that it will generate traffic, it will burn your money, and it will bring you no business whatsoever. I have seen it done by a number of customers of mine that I had to fix their campaigns later on. So you always need to think through how exactly you are going to get customers, not just visitors to your website. If you're selling shoes, then then you have to divide your campaigns to the different types of shoes you are selling. If you're selling shoes for men, then you need to do your advertisements that will appear to men, and men will want to click on it. So you would say shoes for men, or shoes for men who like sport, or whatever type of shoes you are selling. If your advertisement campaign doesn't bring you back the money, as I said before, it has to bring more money than you spend on it. So let me go over on this again. When you doing paid advertisements on any platform, and I'm especially making this example of Google and Facebook, then you need to make sure that the advertisement itself that you are putting up, who is it going to, and what's on your website, it matches. If you're advertising shoes for men, then your ads should say this is shoes for men, or shoes for men who do sports, or whatever exactly your area is. The advertisement should say that. If it's picture ad, then the picture should show shoes for men, then if it's Google advertisement, then the searches that it should appear on is shoes for men, and the website or the landing page more correctly should show the same. This, if you don't get enough customers buying your products or not at all, then somewhere this line breaks down. You are advertising to the wrong persons, your advertisement doesn't talk to them, or your landing page or online funnel doesn't communicate to them, doesn't sell the product. So this is what is important to set up in online paid advertisements. So as I said, it's the same as for Google and for Facebook. Google, you will set up exactly what searches your advertisement will appear for. Facebook is different. There people don't search, so it's not for searches you're going to set, but you need to set up what area the advertisement shows up and what kind of people, like what gender, what age bracket, are they parents or not parents, or are they living in this city or that city, like different subjects, they have visited different pages. You can also set that up. There are all kinds of different setups for Facebook advertisement you can do, but you set up exactly where it shows up, and it will show up as people using Facebook and scrolling through Facebook. And Facebook also, the Facebook advertisements also go on Instagram, the paid advertisement. So the same way applies there. Will show up to people who matches those categories that you set up. So it is important that your ad, and normally, actually always, Facebook ads are either picture or video based and then a text to it. And the picture should communicate the same, or the video should communicate the same that the text is communicating, and then who you are advertising and what you are advertising. Is the same, pretty much the same principles for YouTube advertisements, for Twitter advertisements, for LinkedIn, and all kinds of other paid online advertisements. The key thing in advertisements, online advertisements, and that's a big difference between online and traditional marketing, is the targeting. It's you can very precisely find the people you want to advertise to, like your customers, your potential customers. You can very precisely, most of the time you can very precisely find it. The different platforms offer different tools, and again you need to figure out which one works better for your product, your service, or your company, and you should use that specific advertisement. So it is very important to choose it, but again, trial and error has a lot to do with it, and you should always use trial and error in this and figure out. Maybe sometimes you the first time it just works fine, and then you just fine tune it and see how to improve it. Sometimes it doesn't work at all and you need to change it, or you need to change the platform. Now, I mentioned before SEO, search engine optimization, and I want to say a few more words about that. Search engine optimization, as I said, it's making sure that your website appear in Google searches without paid advertisements. Actually, these tools that I'm telling you now, paid advertisement, social media, search engine optimization, and the rest, they are not tools to be used either or. You don't use or search engine optimization or paid advertisement, but they work best when they used together. The tools that you should use, you use them together, and they point the same direction. They can very much help each other. If you have a paid advertisement on Google, and on top of it your page organically appears on Google searches, like without the paid advertisement, then you will get much better result. There are people who would not want to click on the paid advertisement on Google, but would pay on the organic search results. And then search engine optimization is key for that. There are very many companies who would sell search engine optimization as an only option or as an only service. That's normally not very effective and can be very expensive. And as I mentioned before, many times they try to trick Google into getting your page onto #1 searches for different search words. It is important, and whoever is setting up your website knows how to optimize it for searches. There are certain tools. Very important that you have correct text on your website. One of the tools to help on the search engine optimization is if you have a blog in your website and you are publishing articles regularly, or you are publishing articles somewhere else and linking it to your website. Google search is very much like that. If they find many links back to your website, or your website changes very often, new content, new blog articles, new articles, then it's more common that it shows up higher on Google searches. This subject of search engine optimization, I will do a separate video on this again. But as a first thing and as a caution, because I have seen it many times, there's lots of marketing agencies focusing just on this, especially from India and different not European places or not American places, and many times it's just a waste of money. Generally, the subject of search engine optimization is important, but don't spend money that you don't have on it. See where you spend your money, what will bring you back results. Normally the question of, okay, what money will I get back from this search engine optimization will result on no answers from these companies, because they are not focusing on selling your product. They're focusing on getting you number one on different search keywords, which is not a product. So again, it is important that all the aspect of marketing, the website or landing page, the search engine optimization, the paid advertisement, social media and newsletters and all that is taken care of in the same time. An entire strategy should be worked out that includes all the aspects of marketing. So now if I mention newsletters, let me talk more about newsletters. Newsletters are one of the cheapest ways of getting yourself advertised and selling more of your services and products. There are, if generally speaking, there are two types of lists for newsletters. One is called cold list and the other is hot or warm list. The cold list is basically a list that you get from somewhere, but it's not from people that signed up for your services or on your website, but you buy it from different lists of companies or different places where you can buy it from. It's normally not super effective. It is also, if you overuse this list, it can be very dangerous, because there is this dreaded word in the world of newsletters, spam and spamming. If people consider your email spam and they mark it as spam, then your newsletters will arrive to much less people and less people than if it's not considered as spam and not marked as spam. This area of spam, again, is a very gray area. It is not illegal to spam as such in most cases. There are some data protection laws and so on, but if you're sending to company or general email addresses, it's not illegal to spam. It's not a good practice. And I'm not saying it's frowned upon, but it's also effectiveness on the long term is very bad. Many companies stopped using newsletters for this exact reason, but if it's used well, then it is very effective tool. So the cold list I normally don't advise, not in big quantities anyway, and not sending lots of newsletters to it because of this, because of getting marked as spam and then effectiveness is lost. Also opening, there is one key statistic and key datum on newsletters, and most newsletter sending software measures this, is how many percentage of people opens the newsletter that you send it to. Because if I get 100 newsletters a day to my inbox, and especially when they go to spam or I don't even open it, just delete it, then of course I will never see what you sent me. The opening percentage and how many people opens the newsletter very much depends on the subject line of your newsletter, what's in the subject. Also, how did you get the addresses? Cold lists and warm and hot lists are normally very different in opening rates. So now what is warm and hot list? These are the lists that you collected by people giving their email addresses willingly, so you can send them emails or newsletters. The warm list is people who signed up for newsletters on your website because you told them you're going to send them newsletters about how to lose weight or whatever your products are. And they're interested and they signed up. And the hot list is the actual customers that bought products from you and gave their email maybe while they are buying or normally in that process, and approved that you will send them emails and newsletters. This is a hot list, and these are very hot potential customers, because people who already bought your product, of course, considering that your product is good quality and what you saw they needed, they would normally buy more products from you, but also they know your company, they know your product, they know that you have them already. It's easier to sell them again. And especially when you have, for example, if you're selling vitamins that people consume, consumer products, that is, you buy it and after a month you run out of it, or after a certain time you run out of it and you need to order again. The newsletters are a very effective way of making sure it is actually a service for people to make sure that they don't run out of it. So if it's a 1 month monthly package of vitamins, then 20 days after purchase, you can send them an email that in 10 days you're going to run out of, it is probably time to order, etc., etc. So warm and hot lists are very effective. When you are using newsletters, it is important that you are regularly sending out emails to those newsletter lists. If you let the list not be used for like a month or even longer, then it basically cools down. It is possible that people will forget about you and will forget that they ever signed up. So the list becomes partially cold. Then they can consider that you are spamming them. You send the email and they don't even remember signing up because it was so long ago. So it is important that you send them newsletters, you send them emails regularly. How regularly is always a question. Should you send monthly? Should you send weekly? Should you send daily? It all depends on the type of customer and the type of company you are. Some company I know, they send very successfully daily newsletters for for their entire list, different newsletters for different segments. So in some places that's unimaginable because people would in big droves unsubscribe. Sometimes weekly, even too much. Sometimes it is only monthly, etc. Generally, what you should consider, and it's again, you should test it out, you should increase the frequency and see the unsubscribe rates. If the unsubscribe rates don't go up very much and your purchase rate goes up, then you should keep increasing the frequency of sending out the newsletters. You shouldn't send more than once a day. Once a day you can, it is possible to do that, but you need to make sure it's not the same newsletter or a very similar one of the similar product every single day. That won't really work out. That will be considered as spamming, and people would unsubscribe at least or mark it as spam. So that's the other important thing on newsletters, is that you should consider and work out newsletters that each one of them looks is an entire different message. It shouldn't be a repetition of the previous one or the one that you already sent. It should be always a new one, newly written, new pictures in it, and it should feel like a new email that the person has just received, not again the same. If this feeling is coming through from the newsletters, then you are doing it wrong. So you need to make sure that the newsletters are newly created and for the customers. There are certain tricks you can use on newsletters. You should always use the dates, the calendar dates, as apropos of why you are sending a newsletter. You should send one for Christmas, just a Christmas card, for New Year's, for, if you have, then a birthday card for your customers or potential customers, and so on and so forth. Depending on what kind of products you are selling, maybe it's an Eastern product, like you are selling chocolate, then it's a good production for Easter, etc. You need to figure out what calendar dates you can use to connect your newsletters with your customers. Newsletters should always have actuality. When you are sending it, you should talk at that point to your customer. If something happened in the world, you can connect your newsletter to that happening and connect it up with your product. Newsletters are usually newsletters that are promoting a product. That is your newsletters, and that's normally the purpose of it. It should always have some other value than just showing a product. It should always give tips or ideas or different aspects to your customers, and it's much more effective that way and much less unsubscribe, because people will just want to read it just because you are sending them and you have value in them, that they value, that they want to read, that they want to receive. People normally don't value just advertisements. It's very rare that I want to receive a newsletter so they can advertise me new shoes. Maybe I'm very interested in watches and I want to see the new brands or the new type of watches coming out, but it's even more interesting if in this newsletter there is an article on how to take care of your watch, and every newsletter has a different article on that. So in newsletters specifically, but in other types of your marketing campaign, you need to watch for GDPR and other data protection laws. GDPR is General Data Protection Regulation. It's in the European Union area that not so long ago was finalized, and each country adopted it. It's basically trying to protect the personal data of individuals. This is not for company data protection, it is for individual data protection. To be frank, I don't so much like this regulation and the way it is implemented. I don't like it as a user, and I don't like it as a or as a customer or as a normal person, and I don't like it as a marketing professional either. It's not effective of protecting my personal rights, but it creates trouble for both a business and for the customer as well. Customers have to click and agree to different long legal forms that I don't think anybody ever reads, like maybe lawyers, but I even heard lawyers saying that they don't read it, they just click on it. So it's basically pointless, but you as a business or organization, you need to follow this law. You should always follow the laws and regulations of the country where you are. Because if you don't, you can get into trouble and then you can lose your entire business or get huge fines and so on. It's not good for everybody. It can be troublesome to follow this, but you need to do it. So that's something you need to consider when sending emails or collecting email addresses, how it is legally can be collected, what kind of things people have to agree with. One thing to watch for, and I have seen many organizations and companies making this mistake, do find a competent lawyer that doesn't only want to protect himself of then after you say, why don't you tell me this, but want to protect your rights to communicate to customers. Many organizations did that when this GDPR went into effect in a certain country. Then they sent out an email to their entire list and told their entire customer base that they have to click on this link and approve that they receive more emails, otherwise they will not receive more emails anymore. Now, that's pretty much suicidal. First of all, not everybody will receive and open this email. And if they don't click, and then you lost them immediately. Maybe they have seen some of your emails, but in this way, you cut them off immediately. Second, people don't like to go through this. Sometimes they will just not click because it's too much of a hassle. Sometimes they are on a mobile phone and it's not working properly and the internet connection is just cuts off, and then they don't click and then they forget it, and then that's it, you lost them. So even in this implementation of GDPR, that has not been a direct law or regulation that you have to send out such an email. So you need to always consider how exactly to follow the laws and not cut your own throat on marketing and advertisement. Now, I told you that I'm doing, the main thing I'm doing actually is marketing strategies and working out the strategy exactly for the organizations that needs the strategy. There is no two organization or company that is the same or exactly the same. what is the right strategy for you, what are the right tools for you, needs to be worked out for you exactly. And how do you work it out? First of all, of course, price and how much work it takes, it comes into calculation, especially when you are a small organization. Maybe you are alone and you're doing your marketing alone, then you're not going to have time, hours and hours to spend every day on creating newsletters, posts and blog articles and so on. So you need to figure out the most effective way when you putting the least time into having the most result. You always need to weigh the results between spending more time or spending more money on something. If you don't have money, then you will have to spend time on campaigns. Then you can create posts, then you can create yourself blogs and post them up and share them and send them out personally in email, and then you don't have to spend much or any money on it. Then you spend your time. Some of these can even be done in the evening or after hours when you are not serving customers. If you have money, then at one point you should consider switching over, hiring people doing this kind of services for you, or hiring services or paid advertisement where you don't have to personally spend your time on it. But there are phases of your company as it grows when there are different types of marketing will work for you, will be the most effective for you. Again, one of the considerations is, and it's the main consideration, who are your customers and where you can find them, or potential customers. This is in the very beginning, you need to figure it out, and it might be that you need to figure it out separately for each of your products, because you can maybe you are making shoes for elderly men and you are making shoes for teenage girls, and I can tell you that you find them in different places. Elderly men maybe not on Facebook, and teenage girls maybe already not on Facebook but on Instagram or other platforms, and everything in between. So you need to figure out for each of your products or services, or who are the customers. You need to name them, and the customers are never people. Everybody should buy this. That's not a good idea. It's always some section of that, even if it's just geographical section. If your product is in English, then it's English speaking people. If your product is sold only in a certain country, then of course people of that country. But even the more you can narrow down, the more precisely you can define who your audience and who your potential customers are, the more effective you can make your marketing tools, and the more effective you can use them and target these people. So this is the main consideration. Which tool to use, it depends on who are your customers, basically. And then of course how much money you have and how much resources you have. Of course, one of these, what comes into this, if you are business to business or business to customer, that again, as I mentioned, social media is normally business to customer products, and Google searches and paid advertisements on other platforms are business to business and also business to customers. So you need to always see, it depends also on the product. If your product can be shown in a video, then YouTube advertisement can be for you. Also Facebook can take a video advertisement. What should marketing do for you? I talked about it before, that it should bring back more money, etc., etc. But depending on where you stand exactly on the growth of your company, hopefully you are growing and not shrinking, but what stage you are, marketing should get you started or get you gaining new businesses, new areas, new customers, or making you new money, more effective way of selling. Sometimes marketing just supports sales and getting reaches into the salesman. Marketing is able to alone sell products, but it always depends on the product itself. Like, I probably wouldn't just buy a house online by clicking buy and pay with a card, and probably nobody does that. So on this case, then you would generate leads, then you would generate people interested in buying that house, and then they will meet with your salespeople, and then they would make the sell. But again, follow up if a sale wasn't successful, follow-up emails and follow-up advertisements and so on are still part of marketing. So it is not just getting people there, but actually preparing them to buy that certain product. Actually already selling them the idea. There are certain price ranges and certain type of products that people are more comfortable buying in person. And it's probably always going to be like that. So you can never replace your sales team entirely with marketing, but you can make their work much easier and their closing percentage is much higher with marketing tools. And some of the products, especially when you have online web shops and online sold products, then you can entirely sell it with the marketing tools. And combinations of this, you need to work out for your company what's the most effective. Now, I didn't mention one very precise and exact tool that is actually a marketing tool. I mentioned some parts of it. This is surveys, questionnaire surveys. This helps you not only to find out who your customers are exactly, like who are interested in your product, but also what are they interested in. And surveys, it's such an entirely different subject that I'm not going to go very deep into this, but a little bit, I give you some tools and give you some ideas how you can use it. Actually, Google Docs has a tool where you can do surveys. It's an entirely free tool, and you can use that to doing surveys. There are different tools. You can just ask them in an email, or you can personally ask the people or potential customers or your customers questions, and then at the end you need to tabulate it, meaning you need to summarize it, what answers came in most, what people want from running shoes, and then if most of the answers are comfortable, then in your advertisement you use the most comfortable running shoes you will ever find, for example, if it's true. One thing, now if this subject comes up, I want to mention this. You should never lie in your advertisement campaigns. It's not for legal reasons. Legal reasons comes into this, but when people catch you cheating and lying in your advertisements or in your product sales, that creates a very bad situation for marketing and PR. And it's gonna be much harder. In the short term, maybe you can make a couple of sales with that. Long term, you will lose lots of money and customers and opportunities. So always be truthful as much as possible. Meaning, don't lie. Like, okay, you can make mistakes and you thought so it was like that. And when you found out, then correct it. So let's get back to surveys. One of the most important area of surveys and the most important people to survey, which many times are not considered, is your current customers. Like asking how did they find you when they bought your product is such an important question, because then you will find out where most of your customers are coming from. Then you know what platform to advertise. If you, for example, figure out that most of your current customers came through a specific Facebook campaign, then you know that that campaign was successful. You should definitely put more into that campaign and push it more, because that's what brings you customers. And then maybe the other campaigns not, and then you should stop them, and so on. A lot of things you can find out. Why did they buy your product? Yeah, we bought it because the competitor were more expensive, or because I heard that it's very durable, and I found out it is very durable, whatever it is. You can find out things that then you can advertise. If most of your customers bought it because of such a thing, then most probably you can get, and basically all the time, you can get more customers buying it because of that reason. Now, in this way, as I said, you can say a lot more about how to exactly ask the questions, what questions to ask, how to summarize the data. That's subject of an entirely different video, and I will take it up in an entirely different video. With this, you also find the markets where you are going to market your products. What platforms, if it's going to be traditional, if it's going to be online, you need to find out, and you need to use that tool to find out where to advertise your product. Now, when you find out where to, and I told you the different platforms, different social media platforms, different online and traditional marketing platforms and ways, there is the subject, and it's again an entirely different subject called copywriting. This is writing the sales copy, writing the text that will make people to sign up for a newsletter, to buy your product, to buy your services. There is, as far as I can see, very little knowledge in this area that is useful. There are some very professional people who are very effective and very on to the point and getting the results, and there are a big generality, a lot of companies and even marketing agencies that don't know what they are doing in copywriting. One of the most important things in copywriting is you need to tell people to buy the product. You don't say, I am selling shoes, and you need to say, I am selling shoes for so-and-so, buy it here. You need to tell, buy it here. You need to tell, click here. You need to give orders. People are receiving so much information when they are on their phone, when they are walking in the city. If you don't tell them to do something, they will most probably not do it. It's a beautiful shoes, fantastic. Tell them to buy it. A salesman that doesn't ask for the person to buy is a bad salesman. And a marketing copy, a sales copy that doesn't ask or doesn't tell the people to buy, order, click, is a bad copy. So that's the most important thing you need to consider it. And then it has to hit the tone and the reality of people that you are selling to. It also, one thing it needs to be on it, a hook. Not literally, of course, not like a, something that when people go through Facebook, they're going through Facebook, what's this? That you need to put that in it. Something that attracts attention, something that is not the same as the rest of the posts, of the ads and so on. Once you figure this one out, how to stop them scrolling, how to stop them in their tracks, and then look at the ad, then you are halfway there. Then the ad has to sell, do the rest of the sell. There are, marketing comes into a system. And I heard once a good analogy on this. There is PR, there is marketing, and there is sales. And it's pretty much in this sequence how it works and how much money it brings and how fast it does. And it's the opposite ways. Sales does the sales immediately. It gets money in right now, right away. It closes the person, get it sold, pays in, boom. Marketing, it's normally a bit longer term. A campaign has to run, it collects people, from 100 people, 10 buys, etc., etc. It takes longer, but it can generate actually more money than one salesman. Because salesman, you have to also pay the salesman when you have a big campaign, and if it works, then it just generates much more money. And PR, it takes much longer time, but it creates humongous amounts of money, or can create. Look at Coca-Cola. The PR of Coca-Cola of this is the friendly drink that you should drink and share it with your friends and all this kind of stuff. It took years and years and years to develop. But now you almost don't have to advertise. People see Coca-Cola, they buy it. And it's millions and millions and billions of dollars coming through PR campaigns. But it takes a lot of work, a lot of preparations and constant campaign running. But these are the sequences. One of the biggest or the best ways of advertisement, which you cannot directly create, is word of mouth. Word of mouth means when somebody who bought your product tells his neighbor, his friends, his family how great this product was and they should also buy it. He becomes an automatic salesman for you, even without paying him. That can only be done when you have a great product and the price and value ratio is very well set. When you sell, people think even more than what they bought. If you are selling, you're advertising a great shoes, then people, when they buy it, they should find out that this is the best shoes they ever had. If you're advertising car wax, Then when they buy the CarVax, they should figure out that they didn't only get a CarVax, they got all the tools to put on it, an instruction manual how to put on it, and even a DVD with a video how to keep your wax much longer shiny on your car, for example. I'm just giving you examples. So when you do that, then people will talk about your products. There are actually only 2 occasions people talk about a product or service they bought. If it's extremely good, they will tell about it your friends, or if it's bad. If it's bad, they tell don't go, don't buy it, it's bad. Then if a product is bad, then actually your marketing has negative effect, because it shows up, people who already bought it will tell others don't ever go there. If it wouldn't have shown up, people maybe go there on their own. But the product, it's important that your product gives to people what they bargain, what they wanted and more. It's very important. If your product is superlatively good compared to what they pay for it, actually price at this point doesn't matter. And here I want to take up one more thing which normally belongs to sales training, but also belongs to marketing training. And marketing, you should never market with "we are cheaper than the competitor," because there always will come somebody who is cheaper than you. You should just justify the price. I have seen people who sold products that were more expensive than the exact same product bought somewhere else, but they sold it even more than the cheaper ones. Because they gave services, they gave extra, they gave this DVD that showed how to put on the wax and so on, which doesn't cost much. You have to make it only once. But people will buy the product then. They want to buy something that is the right product for them, not just that it's okay. Nobody wants to go to buy Chinese markets just because it's cheap. They go there to buy because nobody advertised them and sold them the same product or a better product in a way that they wanted to buy it. Now, these steps I have told you so far, I basically explained to you how to put together campaigns and what tools you can use. There is a chance that you are not the one who is going to make these campaigns, or at least later on, even if now you start to do it and you are doing it, but maybe later on you hire subcontractors or a marketing team. Now let me tell you first about a marketing team. When you have people in your company that you hired or your boss hired and they're working for you that are doing marketing, it is super important then people know how marketing works. Like, there is so many false datum in schools and online about marketing that doesn't give the product. When you run a marketing team, then you always have to make sure that the products are measured that count. And it's not visitors to the website. That is a sub-product. Visitors to the website is important so you can analyze where the sales breaks down, if it breaks down. Or you can see from 100 people, 10 bought the product. Can we get it up to 50 or 100? Normally 100, not really. But how can we get it higher? But just alone the number 100 people got onto the website means absolutely nothing. If nobody bought anything, who cares? I wouldn't care if my website had 10,000 visitors. If none of those bought anything, then I know something very wrong with either the way I got those people on the website or the website itself. So when you run marketing teams, then these are the products that I just mentioned above or below or whatever before. This is what they are going to use. And you need to make sure they understand that what is the product that you want them to get. And it can have different stages and different people have different products, but you have to combine them into the final product of products or services packaged and gotten into the hands of people so it is bought. People buy it, sign up, or go to the registration, go to the salespeople. It is the same, practically the same with subcontractors. It is a bit harder because you are not directly controlling them, but and it is also pretty hard. What I can see, it's hard to find subcontractors that would sell the full marketing product. I would see subcontractors that sell sub-products or part of the products, but you're not so much interested in it. They can run advertisement campaigns. Yeah, but with what end product? Many times they say, yeah, but the advertisement campaign was good, but the website is not working. Okay, but then can you fix the website? So you need to always work with the subcontractors, and it sometimes can be hard to find such a subcontractor that can think with the entire sales process, with the entire marketing process, from getting the people interested in your product and getting onto the website. But it also means they need to be able to influence these decisions. Like if you only hire them to do your ads, then that's all they're gonna do. Then if no sales, they can blame the website, and if you didn't make them responsible for the website, then there you go. But then, of course, that's why it's good to have a coordinator, somebody who takes responsibility for the entire process and makes it work so there are sales happening. Now, this is what I generally wanted to tell you about marketing. These are the general parts of marketing, and this is how marketing works, and this is how you can make it to work for your company. What's next? How do you go from here? Obviously, I didn't tell you everything about everything. This video is already like 2 hours long or so. So if I go any further and just tell you everything I know about every part of marketing, you will not remember it. What I did is I broke it down to courses, to video courses when I can go into great details of each step, each part, and you can watch it many times over. This is a marketing course that is over 100 hours of webinars built in a well-structured way. So the courses actually teach you how marketing works and how should you use it. The number 1 course is called the Basics of Marketing course. Then I have created one called Online Marketing course, which goes into the online part of it, one specifically for social media course, and one for Facebook marketing. So all of these parts are covered. Now, what is in the Basics of Marketing course? It's a full extension of this, the basics of marketing, the definitions, how to effectively use marketing for your company, how to figure out what to use for your company, how to run marketing teams. This is where I cover more deeply what statistics, what measures you should get from teams. Same for subcontractors, what you should ask them, what they should report to you, how often you should be in contact with them. This is over 10 hours of webinar course. I included free tools that you can use for all parts of marketing. The value of this is over $1,000. I have done the entire research and put in all the time that this is how much you would buy it for. The next course is an online marketing course, which goes over more deeply the online marketing. How to use marketing online, what tools, each tool I go over separately, what is the most effective for your company, for your type of organization, how to create free campaigns. I mentioned you that there are ways of free advertisement campaigns. I mentioned you some of them, but there is a number more free tools, how to create campaigns, how to create paid campaigns that actually gives back the money, free and paid marketing tools, online tools. I'm gonna go over and the links, and you can sign up for it, and some of them are entirely free, some of them you get discount if you sign up here, and so on. Automated sales funnels, I go more deeply into that, how to use and how to build up automated sales funnels that actually sells your products and upsell them and continue selling. This is more than 10 lessons with exact details on how to use online marketing to your advantage. This is again over $1,000 value, this course. You get both of these courses, the Basics of Marketing course and the Online Marketing course, in one package. This is what I am giving you here. But I didn't stop there. I actually, with this package, I also giving you the social media marketing course, which goes into directly social media, how you use social media. It's a breakdown of all the different social media platforms, what you should use, what is for what. Over 10 hours of lessons just on social media, full details, exact tools on how to use social media, how to automate social media so you don't have to manually work through everything, how to create both paid and free advertisement campaigns. This course is over $900 value, and it's part of this package. So with this package you get both the basics of marketing course, the online marketing course, as well as the social media course in one package that covers everything from the basics of marketing to special marketing strategies, including strategies. I also created, because Facebook is such a well-used platform and so many people use it, I created a course for Facebook marketing. In this course, I go over up-to-date strategies. Facebook have changed over the years, so this is up-to-date strategies on how to use Facebook as a marketing tool, Facebook pages, Facebook groups, your own groups, and if you are using other groups to promote your products, how to use it so Facebook wouldn't kick you out. I have figured that one out. It's quite hard actually. Your own Facebook profile, how to use that, even if you are a company owner, how to use your own Facebook profile, as well as paid Facebook advertising and other tools. Step-by-step videos for every scenario, all sizes of organizations and companies, and even if you are an individual artist. More than 10 hours of video courses, and the price is over $800. So when you order this package, you get the basics of marketing course, the online marketing course, the social media course, and the very highly specialized and detailed Facebook marketing course. The value of these courses together are over $3,700. Imagine if all this did is to give you an advantage over competition by being able to make any marketing campaign that brings you back more than what you spend in it. Would it be worth it? Imagine that you know exactly how to create a campaign that whatever money you put in, it brings back double or triple or even 10 times sometimes. Any campaign. Imagine if this will be given to you with this course, with this package. If it only makes you able to get rid of expensive, unworkable marketing services, or give you all the needed data to be able to choose and run marketing teams or subcontractors, wouldn't be worth it for you? Despite the value of this package, I'm not going to charge you $3,700 for it. I have created this package with all the courses together in a special offer right now, right here, for $290. I wanted to help business owners and company owners. I think they are the most valuable people, and individuals who sell their products, who are artists and so on, and wanted to give you this package. $290, you get all these courses, the basics of marketing course, the online marketing course, the social media course, and the Facebook marketing course. $290 right now, right here. Order the package on the button below. I hope I could help you out with all this data. The rest of the training is in these courses. I am going to post more courses later on, but you can get them right now, and you can learn everything that I know in these areas of marketing. Thank you very much.